Great. Hello, welcome to Lawyers Weekly Front and Center. My name is Scott Ziegler. I work for Lawyers Weekly. And today we're talking about how to select the right networking organization to make business connections and grow your practice. So, the expert on this topic is Joe Chatham, the founder and managing director of USA 500 Clubs. USA 500 Clubs is a platform for high caliber professionals, including attorneys, accountants, financial advisors, and others. USA 500's mission is to build and nurture meaningful business relationships that naturally result in commerce and camaraderie. I want to point out that USA 500 placed first for 5 years running in Lawyers Weekly's reader ranking voting for Best Networking Group. So congratulations for that, Joe.
Thank you. Thank you.
And now it's time to learn something from the master of relationship marketing, Joe Chatham.
Thank you,
So,
Scott.
Joe, as I mentioned just a few seconds ago, we're going to be talking about selecting the right networking organization for lawyers' practice. And the first question I have for you is, what are some of the key criteria for identifying the right networking organization? How do you find the place to network your practice?
It's actually a multi-step process, and I mentioned this to you before the interview. It's not as easy as people think. It's not as easy as just joining something. I mean, there's a lot of terrific organizations out there that help people network, but you need to understand first of all, the purpose of your networking. Am I going in there to develop business? Am I going in there to find resources? You know, my business is very successful, but I need to help find people that can help me with my business and my clients. Establishing your brand, getting your brand out there, which will result in building your business. So it can be a combination of those things. The other thing you have to do is understand your target market and the people that are in front of your target market. Because if you know your target market and the people that who are going to be in front of your target market, or the best referral sources, you need to pick an organization where they're going to be. Okay. And then once you know those things, then it's a matter of looking at the details or the logistics of the meeting. Am I better in person? Am I better now virtual? Is it a combination that's going to work best for me? Do I want to go to large organizational meetings, huge events, or do I want to go to smaller events? Are these exclusive organizations? When I say exclusive, I'm not talking about fancy exclusive. I'm talking about, am I the only attorney that's allowed in that group? Okay. Or are they inclusive of several other attorneys that maybe my competitors? What's the financial commitment, of course? And what are the vetting processes for that group, depending on who I want in that group? So those are all sort of the main things. Why are you networking? Who's in front? And then picking where is the group going to have the right people in it, and then finding out the logistics of the group to see if it makes sense. And there's a lot of little steps in between as
well. All right. Well, next question. How much time can you expect to dedicate in order to achieve effective networking?
I think that, again, depends on your purpose. If you are a person who's trying to establish your brand and get your name out there, let's say you're a little bit younger in your practice, and you need to get your name out there, aside from the 2,000 billable hours you're doing in the office, you need to be out every day getting your name in front of 20, 30, 40 people and talking about what your brand is. Okay. And you can see one of our interviews, Scott, about branding. But the fact is, I need to be out every single day saying, I'm Joe Chatham, corporate attorney, catering to the grocery industry, which is the example I used earlier. If that takes me 2 hours a day at a 7 a.m. meeting or an evening meeting, whatever it is, wherever I pick it, I need to do that until I've started to achieve the results that I want, whatever those results, whatever it is your desires to be.
Okay. And in finding the right networking group, once you've found it, or in your search, how important is having a virtual option?
Oh, I think virtual is, the whole world has changed. I'm a big believer in person because you have what I call meaningful interactions. It's much easier to connect with somebody in person, look them in the eye, shake their hand. Perhaps you know people well enough to give them a hug. And I find that the warmth of personal interaction is really great. However, I've learned a lot over the past 2.5 years. That is, one, I can get out there and brand the heck out of myself from never leaving a seat in my office. And I can get my name out there very quickly. And we have several members from all over the country who are as well known in New England as they are in LA. And virtual has enabled that. If I am selling my time, as like attorneys do, I need to be efficient. But I also need to establish really trusting relationships. And oftentimes it's a little easier to establish trusting relationships face to face. So you may want to layer your approach. This is a virtual meeting where I want to get in front of a lot of people. And maybe this is maybe a room full of more sophisticated people that I need to develop deeper bonds with because they're really meaningful potential, golden geese. They're going to be delivering business to you for a while. So I think a layered approach makes sense, and it should definitely include virtual because it does allow you to leverage your time.
Well, that makes sense to me. You ready for the $1 million question?
Let's hear it.
This is what people want to know, right? When they're investing all of this time and potentially membership fees and all that sort of thing, and whatever other expenses are included in networking, how do people measure the return on investment, the results they're getting from networking?
I'm a big believer in tracking where your business comes from. Otherwise, you don't know where you're wasting your time or where your time is most being used best. So depending on what your goals are, some are intangible, like I'm trying to establish my brand. Okay. If I'm doing that, I'm hitting virtual meetings every single day. And after a while, when people just start saying, let's use that example earlier, oh, Joe Chatham, corporate attorney, grocery industry. If all of a sudden everybody's talking about me like that, I know that I've probably succeeded. But more tangible results are how much business have I originated from this particular group? And that is something that's measurable. You know how much time you put into it. I know I'm going to a meeting or 2 or 3 a month, which takes this much time. And I've generated these kind of referrals. And out of those referrals, I'm generating this much income. And that's a key step because there's plenty of organizations out there also that are leads exchanges, but because they're forced leads exchanges, you're getting a lot of crappy leads. So you want to also know your conversion rate. And that's a matter of tracking. Use an Excel spreadsheet, but know where your business comes from, and then know what you view as success, and you can back right into it.
All right. You got that. You nailed the $1 million question, Jeff.
Thank you.
As we wrap this up, any last minute thoughts or tips on the topic of finding the right networking organization?
Yeah, I do. I think it's far more of a science than people give credit to it. They just join organizations. You really need to think about the things that I talked about, and always remember it's not called net eat. It's not called net play. It's called network. And you have to make a commitment, no matter what group, whether it's a Chamber of Commerce, whether it's USA 500 Clubs, or another leads exchange type of organization. You need to commit to it because commitment is what really will make the difference. And you can be successful committing to any group. It's just some groups will maybe be more successful.
So like anything else in life, the more you put in, the more likely you are to get something out.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, thank you, Joe.
Not rocket science.
No, right. It's pretty simple math. Put in, get out. Thank you, Joe Chatham, for joining us here on Front and Center. A pleasure, as always, to see you.
Thank you, Scott. Have a great day.